Okay, today we're going to learn how to set up layer 3 routing configuration on a Meraki MX device. So first thing, we'll navigate over to addressing in VLANs. Here you'll see our default is just to have one single LAN. If we want to create multiple LANs, we'll click over to VLAN. We have our default, so we could add another one. Let's call this one sales. VLAN 10. Here we can decide whether we want to advertise this through our VPN or not. We'll configure the IP address. And the subnet. All right. So now we have two VLANs. If we want to add static routes, that's lower down on the page here. Here we could say finance. The subnet would be 10.10.20.0. And say our next hop is 10.10.1.20. Here we can choose how we want this to show up in the routing table. Do we want it always? Do we want it only when the next hop responds to ping, or only when a host responds to ping? So this will give us kind of interface tracking or route tracking. And then we've got our VPN mode again. Do we want to advertise this across the VPN or not? Okay, next we're going to configure our routing protocols. So this is going to be over on security and SD-WAN and routing. So here we have two choices. We can do BGP and OSPF. Let's configure OSPF first. OSPF is pretty simple. We'll configure a router ID, and then we tell it what area. Very simple. Save that. We can also add the authentication if we need MD5 authentication with our other devices in the OSPF network. BGP, again, very simple. We have our iBGP VPN AS. You really don't need to change this unless it conflicts with whatever your eBGP neighbors are. And next we'll add an eBGP neighbor. So let's say it's 10.10.1.10 and the remote AS 64510. Which interface do we want it on? Let's say this one's on the LAN. And then we'll take the defaults for the rest of this. Hit save, and then we're done.